Welcome to Grand Sumo Breakdown,
the unofficial sumo podcast
for official sumo fans.
Welcome to Grand Sumo Breakdown. This is Ryan.
This is Jake.
This is Fleric.
This is Mac.
And this is our midway episode for the July tournament. We got a correction from Mr. John Gunning himself, who we mentioned on the last tournament or the last episode. We didn't know what to call this episode because it's typically called the Nagoya Basho, but it's not Nagoya, so we were calling it not Goya. But apparently, all tournaments are officially just named for the month they take place in. So like the Hatsu Basho, which takes place in January, is officially called the January tournament. And we just all call it Hatsu as a nickname. And so people have defaulted to just calling this the July tournament. So we will get correct, because if John Gunning calls us out, we should probably do that.
Yeah, we gotta get our poop in a group and act like we're professionals.
Yeah.
What's kind of funny though is on Sumo DB, every year it lists the Hatsu Haru Natsu Nagoya Aki Kyushu. Like that's the list that they go by. And then this year it's Hatsu Haru July.
Yep.
Even Sumo DB's like, yep, get this shit right.
Son of a bitch.
Exactly.
We can't automate everything anymore. We have to change something manually. Which,
Well,
as somebody who runs codes, that's the worst. That is a sign of failure.
So speaking of Sumo DB, we had also mentioned on our preview episode how it's all like automated and stuff, and it's all like it's its own sentient being. And another thing that Mr. John Gunning corrected us on is he just provided us with a lot of...
He's wrong again.
Yeah. Provide us with a lot of info on like who actually runs Sumo DB. Apparently it's run by a guy named Alex, who is German. He is Doitsu Yama on the Sumo forums, and there's several other people that help Alex with it, mostly in Germany. And apparently John Gunning himself helped provide a lot of the initial data, sounds like with cooperation from the JSA Museum, and that's probably to get like the 1700s and 1800s stuff. So we should be nicer to Sumo DB and not assume it's a mindless
I have
robot.
to note my objection here, because I have seen no evidence that it is not a robot, so I'm going to continue to believe it.
Hey, that's fair. We're calling you out, Gunning. We don't believe you.
Yes, I speak for the podcast.
That's probably what we should do. We need to expand our horizons and get our reach out to more people. And what better way to do that than to get into a high-profile rivalry with one of the top English-speaking sumo minds and John Gunning? His one brain can't beat our four dumb brains.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think a high stakes Twitter spat here is really what this podcast needs to move it to the next level.
Oh God.
Yeah, I'm down for it. I'll see what I can manage.
We'll find some other beloved figures to just completely
Call
provoke
out
for no reason.
Hey, Fleric, what would be the best insult to throw at John Gunning on Twitter to start a rivalry?
Ireland? Do they have whiskey in Irish? Irish whiskey sucks. Or no, his rugby team sucks.
Do they have whiskey?
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know. They suck at soccer, or not football, because football is played with a hand egg.
With a pig skin.
No, rugby.
Yeah.
Rugby. He cares
They're
about rugby.
spoilers. Oh, yeah. Okay, then rugby sucks.
Now,
Yeah.
I care about rugby too, but I care about it because I hate it.
Especially that Irish team. All right,
Yeah.
that should be plenty.
I'm leaving myself out of this.
Wise move, Mac.
That should be plenty of fuel for that fire. That should get us going.
Let's take a page out of Mac's book and leave the Gunning rivalry behind and start talking about the actual sumo that we're seeing in the July tournament.
It's back. I'm so happy it's back.
And it's been a lot better than I think any of us expected. And a lot of that is because we have a fantastic Yusho race so far. We have 3 people tied at 7-0. We've got Hakuho, we've got Asanoyama, and we've got Mitake Yumi. Quick note, this is the first time we've had 3 people undefeated through day 7 since Aki of 2018. Sorry, September of 2018. We're using the correct terms now.
correctness. Good job.
You can still call it that.
No.
And that's when they had 4 people tied at 7-0 in Aki 2018. Hakuho, Kakuryu, Takayasu, and Hokuto Fuji.
I see. You found that stat because you were just fawning over Hokuto Fuji.
It all makes sense now.
No, I thought it was going to be like 15 years since we last had 3 people at 7-0. And then, I mean, since Hokuto Fuji was involved, I still had to bring it up.
Yeah, of course. It is pretty cool to me that they're all guys at the top that we were hoping and expecting to do well.
Mhm.
I think that feels even weirder to me because, like, if I told you that we would have 3 people at 7-0, I would expect, like, Hakuho, maybe Mitake Yumi is not a huge surprise there, and then like somebody from the bottom, like just
Like Miyuki.
like a completely weird one.
Yeah.
But no, it's 3 guys out of the top 6, and I think that's really cool.
Yeah. So let's talk about each of these guys a little bit. Hakuho is very much
Hakuho.
looking like Hakuho. He's not having really too much trouble. I think he's been pushed a couple of times, but he's Hakuho, and so he found a way out of a predicament and won the match. But he's also having a little bit of fun out there, it seems like. I don't remember what day it was, but when he fought Yutakayama, easily threw him to the ground and just had like the little ole arm movement.
Yeah, I'm gonna read the entirety of Bruce's, or actually, I'm not sure if it was Bruce who wrote that particular day, but the Tachi summary of that match. Next.
Perfect.
That was probably what was going through Hakuho's mind too.
Get out of the ring.
I got all dressed up
Yeah.
for this.
That when he faced Yutakayama and then when he fought Kiribayama today, because that match you blinked and you missed.
Yeah, that was fast.
match.
Yeah, and
that was a
unfortunately,
dominated one.
yeah, Kiribayama was one of the people who blinked.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. That one looked kind of like a false start to me, but based on the replays, it looks more like Kiribayama was just kind of
Slow. Yeah, he had both
Yeah.
hands down. And yeah, if he had both hands down, he wasn't ready to start. I think that's on Kiribayama.
agreed. But like it was just like I don't know. I don't know if he was like nervous or something, or
Yes.
well, I mean, yeah, probably.
Well, duh.
Yeah, and then Hakuho also had his moment against Endo, where I thought he was just going to Forrest Gump the thing, and then like his momentum took him off the dohyo when he tossed Endo off, and then he just kept running down the
didn't get
aisle to
that.
the back.
Why did he keep running?
Because he's Hakuho, and he wanted to show up Endo, because I think he has something against Endo.
He's always brutal
yeah.
to Endo.
It gave him more time to strut back to the dohyo.
Oh, that's a good call. But yeah, I honestly thought he was just going to keep
McManning
going.
his way back to the dohyo. No chance.
I honestly thought he was going to like skip receiving the Kensho envelopes and like bowing. And then I remembered, no, that would be a huge faux pas and probably get him like suspended or something. I don't know. So he did come back. He just took his sweet time about it.
I think I just looked into their history, and I'm willing to bet it's probably because Endo had the absolute audacity to beat Hakuho twice in his entire career.
And one of those, he hurled him out of the ring.
Yeah. Was that just this January that one happened?
Yeah, it was the Hatsu, I believe, where
Oh, yeah,
Endo
yeah.
just
Threw him like a sack of potatoes.
threw him on his back, and there was a lot of people overreacting to that match about Hakuho not being good anymore or something like that, but it wasn't a good look for him.
Yeah. And the time that he knocked Endo out, was that in March or was that further back? I can't remember for sure.
I think the time he bloodied up Endo was further back. I don't remember the exact timeline on their transgressions
Yeah.
against each other, but we should probably figure that out.
Yeah, we can find something.
Yeah, January was the second of Endo's 2 wins against Hakuho. The previous time was all the way back in 2016. So if there's animosity because of a match, it's got to be the January one.
Yeah, at least current animosity. But I have a pretty easy time believing Hakuho can hold a grudge. So maybe it still stems from that 2016 one.
Yeah. Who is it? I think is it Tochiozan?
Yes.
That he also used to like have just a massive grudge against and be extra brutal.
Yeah, it seemed and we didn't get to see a whole lot of it because most of their history happened before we started watching, but he just gave him like nasty forearm shivers or just shoved him out of the dojo when it wasn't necessary. He had something against Tochiozan. What about one of our other co-leaders, Asanoyama, in his Ozeki debut, showing why he deserved that promotion? He is 7-0. What do you guys think? Mac, I think you're the biggest Asanoyama fan we've got on here. You've literally selected him as your champ every single tournament. What are your thoughts on Asanoyama in this first week?
I have been liking his performance, but this guy has gotten lucky. He's been in a couple bad spots where he's either been manhandled or he just can't get that grip, but he still manages to fight his way through it. He's had a couple of good looks, but I would say for the most part, he's had quite a bit of luck on his side as well.
Yeah, I would argue that, might be luck, but I just think that just shows how good Asanoyama is. There's two matches that stick out to me in particular. There's one against Daisho where Asanoyama is typically a guy that works the belt, and if he gets your belt, you're done. Daisho did a really good job keeping him off of his belt, and they were just having a pushing, thrusting match against each other, and Asanoyama was able to beat Daisho at his own game, despite not doing his preferred style of sumo. And then I think the one that was really bad for Asanoyama was the Kiribayama one, where Kiribayama, I think he was doing like the Haramafuji technique, where you kind of hit and slide.
The Henka no Henka.
Yeah, and he got Asanoyama in a really bad position, but Asanoyama was able to keep defending against being taken down by Kiribayama and eventually worked himself into a spot to take Kiribayama out. And so I think lesser Rikshi would have lost to Kiribayama in that match. And I don't necessarily think it's luck as much as it is skill on Asanoyama's part to be able to keep winning despite the fact that he's put into these poor situations.
Now, hopefully that leads to better potential down the line. I still think he is Yokozuna caliber, just needs to keep refining his skills and keep honing his ring sense.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see how he does once he starts facing off against more of the Sanyaku Rikshi, which for once is actually going to be all of the tough matches in the tournament. But something that I got reminded of from Asanoyama this tournament in those matches was when I first started watching sumo, Kisano Sato was still in Ozeki, and I didn't really like him a whole lot. I don't know why. I didn't know his story or anything like that. But I just remember about him that he was a guy that I was cheering against, and all of the Rikshi going up against him would get him in a bad position, but they can never finish him off. Kisano Sato would always find the way out of whatever predicament he was in to get the win. And that's kind of what I'm seeing from Asanoyama a little bit right now. It's a small sample size, but if Asanoyama can keep that up, we all know what happened with Kisano Sato.
The pectoral injury?
Yeah, I just hope that Asanoyama gets the surgery that he needs for his future injury.
Yeah.
But yeah, I totally agree. He's got that like kind of somewhat reactive big man sumo. Like if he has his way, he'll just get inside on the belt and escort people out. Like that happens all the time. That's most of the matches so far. But when something unexpected or crazy happens, he seems to always have a great plan B. And his defense holds up until he can get an opening for his plan B to win the match. And yeah, so he's been put in a couple bad positions, but that's inevitable, I think. And the fact that he's able to recover from them is super promising.
Jake, why don't you tell us a bit more about our third Yusho contender right now that is tied at 7-0, and that is Mitake Yumi.
Well, he got a Fusen win on day 7 here, so yet again, if he wins a tournament that Hakuho is in, there'll still be that asterisk that I'm sure will be brought up for him. There's always something or other for him, right?
Yeah.
But either way, I think he looks super promising to me. I think he's absolutely going to stick in the race here. His fundamentals just seem locked down, and we've made the joke that he's stealing, who is it, Tim Duncan's nickname, Big Fundamental.
Yeah.
And that's absolutely been working out so far. Not very many of his matches have been all that exciting, I don't think, but just in my opinion. But that you don't have to be exciting if you're winning. And he just he gets inside for the belt when he needs to. Usually he's just kind of going for the pushes, but overall looking very solid, and I'm super impressed.
I mean, yeah, it's hard to have a fun match with Mitake Yumi when you run into him, he doesn't move, and then
Yeah.
he pushes you out or throws you out.
Right.
Yeah. I will I got to give him credit for day 3 though. His win over Onosho was with a Kubi Nage. That one was just kind of like a desperation headlock throw at the edge. That was pretty cool.
So
And
yeah, now
I certainly will
okay.
not deny that one was exciting.
Yeah, I was gonna say now Mac and I know what a Kubi Nage is, but explain for Fleric what a Kubi Nage is.
Yeah, no, that one Onosho had the better he had the lower position, the lower leverage, so Mitake Yumi just grabbed around the headlock like the schoolyard bulldog type choke position and just used that to twist him around.
Got it. So
There you go, Fleric. Now you know.
Much appreciated. That was good. It saved me a Google.
all right, guys. So Mitake Yumi is doing well, so you know I have to bring it up. It is July right now. We know that because that's the name of the tournament. And
Very good.
That is true.
Officially.
because it's July, it is hot and muggy, and that means Mitake Yumi is going to do well according to our warm weather theory for Mitake Yumi. And I've had like a inspiration as to why it is that the warm weather makes Mitake Yumi perform better. So I think it goes back to when like Mitake Yumi came in, it was like Takakeisho, Onosho. Tachiai kind of dubbed this group of Rikishi the tadpoles. And so I'm thinking maybe Bruce over at Tachiai knows a bit more about the biology and physiology of some of these guys. What if he actually is a reptile and he is a
Amphibian,
frog,
Ryan.
and
Yeah,
so he
amphibian.
is cold-blooded, and so he's more dormant and docile in the winter, and he doesn't have as much energy, so he can't put forth the effort to win the matches. But when the summer comes out, he's got the heat to get the energy, and he's just able to knock out these amazing performances. So I think Mitake Yumi has evolved from a tadpole into a full-blown reptilian frog person.
Now you're saying
Reptile.
reptilian to get on our
Yes.
nerve. Yeah, I think
Amphibian.
I mean,
Shoot, that's an
Jeez.
amphibian, isn't it?
Yes, it's an amphibian.
oh god, he wasn't doing it on purpose.
No, he
I
was doing it.
wasn't.
Oh, wow.
I
Yeah,
forgot
think,
amphibians were a thing. It's been a long time since school.
Yeah, and also take into account that in summer the sun comes up earlier in the morning, so he has more time to sun himself upon his rock under the in his little terrarium before he comes out to the ring.
It's a bulletproof theory. I'd like to see anybody try to punch holes in that.
We should write a paper on this and submit it to the foremost
Thesis.
sumo research magazines.
Yeah, we'll get a scientific journal, get it published in there.
We may have to start a sumo scientific journal.
We can do that.
Yeah, why
That's what
not?
we got to do.
We could publish our own papers.
Yep.
After we win our rivalry with John Gunning, we will be the most respected sumo people in the world, and we'll have carte blanche to do whatever we want.
Because
There we go.
everyone knows that there's always a winner in a Twitter spat.
Yes. And it will be us. Because we will be the only people fighting.
Really, it's just volume and perseverance that wins arguments. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter what you're saying.
Exactly. So we've talked about our 3 guys at the top of the Yusho race. Let's talk about some of the 4 guys that are following them. And let's start with Fleric, of course, because I think pretty surprisingly, one of the people in the follower group at 6-1 is Shodai at the Sekiwake rank. Fleric, have you been impressed? Has Shodai changed your mind in the first week of this tournament?
I will say I was super impressed and happy when he beat Aoyama. whichever
Yes.
day that was.
Today.
That was today.
That was today.
Yeah, because Oyama is on my chump for my fantasy, and so any loss by him just makes me super happy. So I did actually have like a little smile on my face after that match of a Shoday match when he actually did well. But all the rest of them have just been terrible.
I was about to say, Fleric, I think that one match was the turning point. I think that could Shodai is starting to warm your heart.
No. As soon as I let that happen, that's when he's gonna begin his decline. I've been down this road. I've been down this road before. I'm not
Been
falling
hurt
for it.
before.
Yeah. But no, he's been doing pretty well. Like he's been pulling out some pretty good wins against some. He's been looking pretty solid. Like you can't write him off like he was before. I think he actually is like living up to his rank of Sekiwake and like beating a lot of people around him. He's gonna give and since he's still in the Yusha race, I think that's very telling to his condition right now.
Yeah, before Fleric got on Discord this morning, Mac, Jake, and I were talking about a couple different Rikishi, and we were actually talking about Terenofuji and Kakeyaki. Mac, what were you saying about Terenofuji? Trust me, I'll spin this back into talking about Shodai somehow.
Oh, thank
So
God.
with Terenofuji, this goes back to the reason why I chose him as my chump. It's not because I don't like him and don't believe in him, but Jake and I were talking about this, and Jake hit the nail on the head. He is the definition of a mid-rank Rikishi. He's just solid performer. He looks great. He gets good Tachi eyes, has good rings. He just can't finish. And that's the problem is every time he gets up to the M3 or higher, he just can't finish.
Yeah, he is perpetually at the edge of the joy. Sometimes he'll sneak up in there and have a bad run. But yeah, it's very as like a numbers guy, it's very cool to me to see him in particular. He is like dialed in to the rank at which his talent matches. Like he is constantly getting. It's like Daisho. Like Daisho is dialed in as like a Komusubi or a Maegashira 1. Terenofuji is the same way for like Maegashira 4 or 5, just outside of joy.
But yeah, so we were talking about Terenofuji a little bit, how he's got like amazing fundamentals, but he doesn't have the strength to overpower people like Mitake Yumi, Asanoyama, stuff like that. And so we were also talking about like Kageyaki. We think he's going to kind of be the same way. He's got really good fundamentals, but we don't think he's ever going to like have the strength to kind of impose his will on people. And so he'll always be good fundamentally. And so that'll keep him probably around where he's ranked, but he's never going to get too far beyond that. And I don't remember if it was like Mac or Jake was like, yeah, I think Shodai is kind of the same way. And I took I don't remember the right word for it because my mind is blanking, but I disagreed with that. And
I thought your thought was dumb.
yes. And so what I think for Shodai, like Terenofuji and Kageyaki, they are studying before their match. They have a plan that they're going to go into each match with. They're thinking about it at the Tachi Eye, and they're going to try to do that plan at the Tachi Eye. If it doesn't work, maybe they have a couple of backup situations to like, okay, if this happens, I'll do this. If this happens, I'll do this. And they execute their plan. Whether it works, typically it's not working this basho is another story. Whereas Shodai, I don't think Shodai thinks about sumo until his fists hit the ground. He is a guy that just has nothing in his head. His fists hit the ground. He seems always surprised at the Tachi Eye. That's why it's always so soft, because he's not thinking about sumo. And then he just reacts to whatever happens in front of him. He has no plan. He's just very good at ad-libbing in the moment for the matches. And that explains his match against Aoyama, where he's running for his life the whole dang time. And eventually Aoyama stepped out of the ring because he was tired of dealing with Shodai. Or the match against Endo yesterday, where they both like spun into each other at the same exact time at the Tawara, and then Shodai was able to take advantage of that and somehow win. And so I think Shodai is probably, now Hakuho's the best improviser, but maybe Shodai is the second best improviser in all of sumo, based on the fact that I don't think he does any preparation before a match.
I have a theory.
You should write a paper on that, Ryan, and
we'll put it in our sumo scientific journal.
Sumo Research Quarterly.
Yeah, we'll peer review it and give it a thumbs up.
Okay.
So first off, I definitely disagree on Kageaki, but I'll get to that in a little bit. But Shodai, he's had like three days in a row of just like Benny Hill matches. It just kind of like sumo just kind of happens around him, and he's just like having a jolly good time while he's there. But one other theory I think I'm going to write a competing research paper about. I think it's a Ratatouille situation. I think there may be a tiny
Anybody
little
can
mouse.
cook?
No, it's a tiny little mouse hiding in his top knot. He doesn't actually, if he's not planning anything, and he's always surprised, but he always has the right move ready to go, whether it's by accident or because he's really knowledgeable or something. What if it's just a little mouse up there tugging on different top knot strings and guiding him through?
Just hiding in the chonmage.
Yeah. There's
You
plenty
do
of room
your
up there.
research. I'll do mine. We'll let the peers decide who is correct.
Shodai, yeah. Maybe Shodai just has a ton of natural talent, but not a lot of like knowledge or like, you know, high fight IQ. It might just be like flowy natural talent kind of a thing. So if he had a plan, that would just make him worse.
Could be. Some
I don't
people are like that. You know, you just have to go with because like you go only, you know, a plan is only as good as like the beginning of the match, right? Then you have to throw it out. So he's just taking that to the extreme because we believe that he doesn't do any planning at all.
Yes.
Which
Mike,
That's really what it boils down to.
I think it's a Mike
Fail if
Tyson.
you don't got a plan.
Yeah. I think it was Mike Tyson said it. Like, everybody's got a plan until they're punched in the mouth.
Yep.
And
Cool.
Shodai's doing like the big brain move of like, hey, if I don't have a plan, then it doesn't matter if I get punched in the mouth.
Everyone has a plan until you get touchy-eyed in the mouth. Is that our new saying?
Yes,
We'll
work
workshop
on
it a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good.
Let's talk about another 6-1 contender. And I think this one very surprising. Miyogiryu is at 6-1, and he's been looking very solid in his matches. I can't lie to the people and say that I've paid particular attention to Miyogiryu so far this tournament, so I don't have a whole lot to say except he's 6-1 and doing well, and probably gonna lose some matches towards the end of the Basho and not really contend.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, okay.
He's one of those guys that is I mean, the longer I follow sumo, the better I get at knowing as many guys as possible and having opinions about as many guys as possible within the top division. It's never clicked for me with Miyogiryu. I don't know about you
Yeah.
guys, but like he's just remained anonymous for like the 5 years I've been watching this sport.
He's had some ups and downs, and I was always been hoping it would be like a chain, like we see some really good stuff, but he's not been able to string it together for consecutive Bashas.
Mm-hmm.
But this is a very promising one. Hopefully, he can keep it together. But I think Ryan had it on the head. Like, once again, as we watch sumo more, we kind of see these patterns emerge, and the pattern of someone come from lower Bansuke, mid Bansuke, like just kicking butt. But then once they get higher competition, they start dropping some matches. This is kind of what I'm expecting from Miyogiryu right at the moment.
Yeah, especially this tournament where when we've had like the surprise Makuuchi winners, most of our Yokozuna are gone, and we know how garbage the Ozeki have been over the past 2-3 years. And so it's a lot easier for those Maegashira to win those Yusho. This one, where all of our Sanyaku Rikshi are clicking on all cylinders, no. If a Maegashira guy like Miyogiryu gets to like 11-1, 12-1, and then he gets sent up to the Sanyaku ranks, he's going to be torn apart like a buzzsaw.
Yeah. I will say the one point that maybe he has a chance is take a look at Takayasu. Like he's getting some real competition down at the lower ranks. And I think part of that is maybe that there's definitely skill separation, but I think there is like the people down there are really good at sumo. And I think Takayasu is kind of realizing, like, oh no, like I've been Ozeki for a long time, but even down here, there's some real competition. So I think if any of the top people tried to like count out Miyogiryu, I think they're going to be in for a bad time.
He's been Sekiwake before. I mean, it's been a number of years. He's definitely on the downslide of his career for sure. But I mean, he's no slouch overall. I totally agree there.
So let's move on and talk about probably one of the best looking first weeks of a debut we've seen in a while, and that's Koto Shoho. I've been really impressed with his sumo this first week. He picked up a win against former Ozeki Takayasu, which is kind of when I'm really like, all right, he just beat a former Ozeki. Maybe he actually has something. He's kept that going. He's 6-1. And I've just been really impressed with this guy. Mac, what are your thoughts on Koto Shoho so far?
Well, I'm not willing to completely disregard Wakataka Kage as the unofficial representative of the podcast, but definitely have been enjoying his matches. I didn't have any expectations coming in for him, as most of the people from the lower ranks, I'm like, all right, give him a couple bashos. Let's see what they're doing. But thus far, this guy has not failed to impress.
Yeah, he looks good. Looks very good. Like some of the wins have just been like just push, like, Tachai just pushes them out. It's just like very straightforward sumo, and he just does it better than them, which I think is, he's doing all this stuff everyone's trying to do, but he just does it better, and it just looks impressive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I'm a little bit annoyed with the writers of this season who introduced two characters with almost the same name in back-to-back tournaments. Koto
yeah, with
Iwataka and
Koto
Koto
Nawaka.
Shoho. Yeah.
With all the other Kotos,
The other three, Koto Eiko, Koto Yuki, and Koto Shogaku, have been around long enough and are like so physically distinct that it's super easy. But yeah, I've definitely had my struggles keeping Koto Nawaka and Koto Shoho straight.
It's easy figuring out Koto Shoho because he looks like the most bored, uninterested Rikishi you will ever see.
Also, he looks like a baby.
That too. He's a very bored, uninterested sumo baby.
Who is 6'4".
What?
He's enormous, yeah.
Wow. I don't believe you. What is 188 centimeters converted to English units?
Something around 6'4", because I remember seeing that 6'4" on my screen when I was watching YouTube.
That's got to be a typo. I'm looking.
188 centimeters is 6.16 feet.
6.16. That'd be 6'2".
Okay.
Which I still don't believe, but I'll accept it.
I've just looked it up.
I don't believe it. Somebody's lying to you, Mac. You can't just believe
Google,
everything the government tells you, Mac.
Oh, okay. Here it is. Yeah. So on the new graphics that we have on our main Sumo Highlights channel, he's listed at 191 centimeters, which is 6'3". I wonder if he's still growing from his official 188 that he was measured at when he started.
Maybe that
Sumo
191 is measuring from the top of the top knot, and the 188 is his
Yeah.
actual height.
When you get to Sekitori, you grow a couple centimeters worth of top knot.
Yeah.
Regardless, he's way too tall for a baby.
Yes.
I think that's the main point we're getting
If
at.
you take anything else from this, he is too tall to be a baby. But yeah, I think he's definitely a future Ozeki, kind of like former Ozeki Terenofuji, who is also 6-1 and looking very good in his comeback to the Makuuchi division. Jake, tell us more about Terenofuji.
Yeah, his comeback here, I definitely have been talking some crap about expecting him to hit a bit of a wall, just because anytime you step up a division, the level of competition goes up. But I definitely underestimated him. He's done great so far. I think it's cool that he's kind of developing a signature move of like a couple times people have gotten in double underhook grips, and he does the kime dashi, which is where you just crank down your overhooks around their elbows and lift them up by bending their arms the wrong way. super impressive lift out technique, and he pulled it off on Chiyoshoma and Wakataka Kage.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that he's kind of developing that as a signature move. Kime dashi is his fourth most used kimarite.
Oh, holy crap. Okay. Yeah, that is a very weird one to have so high on the list. But yeah, he's done it 21 times. Holy cow.
Yeah,
Cool.
when you're that tall apparently only 4 centimeters taller than Koto Shoho. I don't believe any of the information I'm being given right now. He is listed at 192 centimeters.
That's pretty friggin' tall. That is
Kaisei's taller.
yeah.
To blow your
Kaisei's the
mind a little bit
tallest.
more.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Kaisei's like sneakily huge.
Kaisei and Ikiyoi, I think, are both 6'5". Kageyaki's up there somewhere too,
Mm-hmm.
and Hakuho, I think, is 6'3" or 4". Whatever. But yeah, Terenofuji, the Kimedashi, actually right under that on his Kimarite list is Kote Nage. So yeah, he is just a destroyer of elbows as well. Maybe he just doesn't have as many high-profile injuries as Tamawashi has dished out. Maybe that's why we don't think of him as the elbow destroyer.
All right, give me a couple of moments. I'm going back to day 6 of the video matches to find where Terenofuji fought Koto Shoho, and I'm going to see how tall those guys are compared to each other. I am
We
not
have to settle.
buying this narrative.
Oh man, speaking of height differentials, Shohozan versus Ikiyoi was noticeable.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That was crazy. Ikiyoi, Ikiyoi, I just don't really think of him as gigantic. Maybe his proportions make it seem like he's not super tall, but yeah, he is so tall. And Shohozan, pretty short.
Not so tall.
Not so tall.
So it looks like either Koto Shoho is taller than I thought, or Terenofuji is shorter than I thought. Because yeah, they're pretty close height-wise. So I don't know, man.
He's a gigantic baby.
Gigantic baby.
Baby indeed. All right, I can move on from that. I'm semi-satisfied at this point.
Jeez.
Well, I'm glad we helped you through that.
No, the internet helped me through that when I had visual evidence.
We helped fill the dead air while you were just watching
You
videos
guys
when
were
you're
no help
supposed to be.
whatsoever reading your accurate numbers.
Well, somebody had to talk while you were just watching videos instead of podcasting.
I mean, yeah, that's what I'm doing most of the time.
Watching videos or podcasting?
Sometimes both.
All right.
Let's talk about one of 2 Kyujos that we have so far, and that is Yokozuna Kakuryu. And I have it written down in my notes, LOL Kakuryu, as his day 1 match against Endo ended in a Hiwaza, or a non-technique, Koshi Kudake. So that is not on the Kimarite list, not one of the 82 official Kimarite. Koshi Kudake is when you fall over backwards without a technique being initiated against you.
In other words,
it is the first time.
it's the Charlie Brown. It is the ultimate Charlie Brown.
It is Lucy pulling the football away from Charlie Brown.
The football being Endo's calves.
Football being Endo's foot.
Yeah. I don't know if it was intentional by Endo at all, but he moved his foot forward, like maybe he was going to go for a trip of his own or just adjusting his stance. And Kakuryu decided to take advantage of that and was going to go for a sweep of Endo's leg and send Endo to his ass. Endo pulled his foot back immediately, so he very well could have been baiting Kakuryu into that. Kakuryu missed. His leg kept going forward. That momentum swung him down onto his ass and apparently his elbow, because after that match, he is citing an elbow injury that's going to take 2 weeks to recover, and so he was Kyujo because of that. But this is the first time a Yokozuna has ever lost because he fell over backwards without a technique being initiated against him.
That's right, Kakuryu. You continue to be a trailblazer.
What a guy.
Mm-hmm.
Flair,
Such an inspiration.
how have the lunchbox sales been after that? Are you going to redesign the lunchbox to capture this moment?
Oh, yes, we have to, because not good, to answer your original question. Not good.
Rebranding.
I'm trying to get the new Koto Shoho lunchboxes, but I still have way too many Kakuryu ones.
See, what you got to do, you got to advertise Kakuryu now that as like a meme, and that'll get all the teens and stuff to buy those lunchboxes.
Yeah, it could be like, yeah, we'll have to get on the meme game. It'll be pretty good. I'll have to get on that.
The gears are turning within Flaric's head.
So let's talk about our other Kyujo that we have. As Jake mentioned, Mitake Yumi won by Fusen today, day 7. He was supposed to face Abi, but Abi decided last night that he wanted to go out and eat with his friends, which normally, yeah, who cares? Go out and eat with your friends. That's a normal thing that normal people do. These are not normal times, however, and we've got the coronavirus pandemic to worry about. And in so going out and eating with his friends, he broke the coronavirus protocol that all the rikishi are under. And Shikoro Yama Oyakata, the former Teirao, decided that, you're going Kyujo, you dumbass.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what a dumbass.
And so Abi, the man who is responsible for having the social media ban for the rikishi, has now been pulled out of the tournament.
That's
because he
right.
broke the coronavirus
him.
protocol, and he will remain Kyujo until his tests come back negative. Jeez.
That's going to take
Abi,
a while.
I'm not liking you, man.
Yeah.
This is not cool.
Well, Fleric, it could either be tomorrow, or if you live in Texas, it could be next month.
Yeah. Doesn't it take a while to like safely say you're negative or not?
Yeah, so I don't know if they need to wait a certain number of days before they give him a test, because I don't think you're going to necessarily test positive like the instant you have the coronavirus in your system. You got to give it time to like build up in your system so you can get those test results. I don't know if they're going to look for like back-to-back days of negative test results, because I know at least here in America, there's plenty of cases of false negatives and false positives. So maybe they want a couple of tests to come back negative just to be sure that he hasn't been exposed to anything. But I mean, he wasn't looking all that great. He was 3-3 coming into the day. So this is probably going to cement a Makekoshi for Abi here. But yeah, just not a smart move when it's against the rules to go out with your friends. Don't go out with your friends.
We got to work on developing some theories about Abi, because
he's a dumbass.
I mean, that's the top one for me. Just being a doofus. I think that might be it, but I don't know. God,
yeah, it'll be like
really
the back page of our Sumo Scientific Journal. The story of the rise and fall of Abi, a scientific breakdown. And then it's just like long arms, but super dumb. And then that's it.
Dumbassery.
Oh, dear.
But look at that Shiko.
Oh, look at that
Ooh,
Shiko.
that Shiko.
It is a pretty Shiko.
Yeah.
That'll get you far.
So we've brought up many times how the Sanyaku is looking good. And we brought that up because basically everybody we've talked about is in the Sanyaku ranks and how well they've
Looking
been
good.
doing. We've got Hakuho at 7-0. Kakuryu kind of the exception to this right now, as he is Kyujo.
Kakuri who?
Yeah, exactly. Both Ozeki are looking good. Asanoyama 7-0. Takakeisho, he is 5-2. We'll kind of dive into him a little bit more. Sekiwake are 6-1 and 7-0. Even the Komosubi are kind of standing strong at 4-3 and 3-4 respectively for Daisho and Oki no Umi. I don't remember the last time that we had. I think it was that Aki 2018 we actually brought up where like the Sanyaku was looking this strong. What do you guys think about this tournament where it is so top heavy? Does it make it more exciting for you, or do you want to see kind of those Maegashira leading at the midpoint to make it more exciting and unpredictable? Fleric, why don't you start us off with that conversation?
Yeah, I would say this is actually amazing. I will say that this is honestly probably what you hope for most bashos, of where the top people you've been kind of building up as these are the best of the best, and all of them are pretty much looking really good and going undefeated. So it's going to probably come down to the last couple of days. And I say it's still very exciting because it's still very unpredictable. It's the bashos where one person is like way ahead of everyone else, and like the people who can challenge them are kind of looking iffy. But that's just not the case right now. So it's just very exciting. We also have a couple mid-level Maegashira that could come in and play spoiler as well. This is actually really shaping up to be a great basho. I can't wait.
Yeah, I'm looking at it kind of as comfort food. It's it's there are certainly things that are hard to predict, but like the general trend of the Basho is comfortingly familiar. After having a tournament canceled, coming back and seeing, yes, the top guys are doing well. Hakuho is 7-0, and there's other young guys up towards the top that are doing well. It's comforting, even though, yeah, I agree. Like, which of the front runners is actually going to win? Probably Hakuho, but like still, it's
You don't know though. Like
No,
it's
you really don't.
yeah, because Hakuho he gets shakier and shakier, but
Yeah.
granted he's probably still gonna win. But
probably.
Well, yeah.
But,
like
like,
if anyone's gonna do it, like an Asanoyama, like new Ozeki going 7-0, like definitely lots of like motivation there to do well. Then Mitake Yumi, who's like been sitting out on his rock for like months.
Sunning
It seems
himself
like
every day.
yeah.
But yeah,
It's-
like as a trend though, like it feels good to have the top guys do well to me.
yeah, these are the stars of sumo, and they're doing well.
These
These
this is
people have
what
been
you
building up.
expect. Like Jake was saying, comfort food. This is how it should be. Now that you don't enjoy someone from the lower ranks doing well and completely blowing things out of the water, but this being so top heavy, Jake and Flair think you nailed it on the head. This is comfort food. This is what it should be.
Yeah, sometimes you just need the comfort food. Other times you need like the spicy Indian takeout of Tokushoryu winning a tournament.
Yes.
Give me some of that spicy Indian takeout. Yeah.
more of like a risky proposition, but it still could be fun.
Yeah.
But also, spicy
Risky,
Indian
that's the
takeout
thing.
is delicious.
But
I do
when it
like
pays off, it's delicious.
But when
it is
it pays
quite
off.
delicious.
Yeah, I mean, like it's really good while it's happening and it's fun, but like later on, the precedent that it sets may not necessarily be what you want.
I don't know.
The
I like
consequences.
I don't know.
I don't think there's any consequences to Tokushoryu winning everything. I don't know about that.
Yeah, I mean, other than the joke that we have now that literally anyone can win at any time.
Except
it's
for
true.
Chiyomaru and Koto Yuki. They
Well, yeah, no.
not this Basho.
And
They're 1
Shodai.
of 6.
And
That's
Yutakayama.
Like, and Shodai's not going to win either. Let's be real.
Well, now hold
I don't
on.
know.
What was he?
Tokushoryu won.
6-1. Come on.
Well, Ryan. Yeah, Ryan. That's exactly what I'm saying.
Ryan just validated it.
Lads,
any
it's
moment.
Shodai.
At any moment, you can just go, yeah, but Tokushoryu won. That's the consequence of that tournament. That is troubling.
It's
See
that
the
we're
trouble
going
you
to be
started?
annoying to each other for the rest of eternity.
Yeah. Just like how people talk about the Spurs of where they say, lads, it's Tottenham. We have to go like, lads, it's Shodai. Like, he's not going to win. He's
I
not
don't
going
know
to win.
why when Flerick said Spurs, I thought he was going to be talking normal American and be talking about the San Antonio Spurs.
That's what I thought.
He had to go Premier League and talk about the Tottenham Hotspurs. And just
Are those like
ruin
a
everything.
baseball team?
No.
San Antonio Spurs are in the NBA. We really need to bring up another sports quiz. with
Heck.
Flerick.
I need a good sports documentary. I've been watching some Formula One, and oh my goodness,
Ooh, Flerick, have you watched the Last Dance series about Michael Jordan and the Chicago
I
Bulls?
have. I know
Okay, you
Chicago
have?
Bulls are an NBA team.
Yes, they are.
Very good.
Were there any more teams in that documentary?
There were a couple. We'll find some documentaries for you about them.
Perfect.
Sometimes I think that Flerick knows a little bit more than he lets on about sports. Like, you seem like the kind of guy that would do a little bit of research just to make sure that you're getting the answer wrong. Like knowing
that would
that the
take-
Spurs are a basketball team to make sure that you guess a different sport sounds very much in line with your sports knowledge and your relationship with Ryan.
That's true. Relationship with Ryan, that is very important. But also, Googling, researching that kind of stuff is just a step too much for me. Just a step too much.
All right, let's put a cap on that conversation and let's kind of do a follow-up to a conversation we had on our preview episode where my dog is very loud and barking.
Yes, we love you, Piper.
So let's try to move past that and talk about what a lot of people thought this first week was going to be, because we didn't have a lot of contact training for the Rikshi, and they certainly weren't allowed to go practice with other Rikshi from other Heya, which they're typically able to do, which a lot of people theorized, okay, people like Onosho, Shohozan, Tamawashi, guys where they're the only Sekitori in their Heya, they are going to do really poorly. And then all the Kotos, they've got a bunch of other Sekitori they can face in practice. They're going to do great. So how did that actually turn out? Well, the Heya with the most Sekitori in it, and that's 5 or more, all of the Makuuchi Rikishi from those divisions have combined to go 37 and 40 through the first week. The Heya that only have one Sekitori in the Heya have gone 21 and 21 through the first week. And matchups between a Rikishi from a Heya with a lot of Sekitori versus a Rikishi from a Heya with where they're the only Sekitori, they're 6 and 6 in those matches.
That is very conclusive that
Wow.
it does not matter.
All of the conversation we had on the preview completely moot and irrelevant, because now these guys have fought 7 matches, most of them, and so they're going to be kind of in better shape. Everybody thought those effects would be gone by 7 days anyways. Turns out there was never any effect at all. So next time we have a tournament where there's 4 months in between tournaments, which hopefully is never, we'll know not to talk about that.
Nope.
Yeah.
Well, we
Please
probably
check
will
our-
anyways, because there's not going to be much else to talk about.
Yeah.
Please check our scientific magazine paper for a paper on this. Bashos with big and small Heyas.
Yes. We're going to have quite a bit in that scientific paper.
We've already got like 5 articles started here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Jake, looks like you got a little bit of a fun fact you want to give us that you borrowed from somebody else.
Yes, Mr. J. Wags, the virtuosic composer of, let's see, fully half of the music we've ever used on this
Yes.
podcast. Yeah, one of our 2 songs ever. He brought up in his most recent Dohyo series of YouTube videos. Go check those out; they are very fun. The youth trend that we have been talking about for years, it seems to have kind of happened without us having any major time talking about it. So the generational turnover has kind of happened. There's just a few, there's a few more older guys that are on their way out still, but like, just for statistics here, last year at the same time, within the top ranked guys, so we're looking at like Maegashira 6 and better. 12 out of the 21 of those guys were over 30 a year ago. So just over half. And now 5 out of the 20 guys that are Maegashira 6 or better are over 30. So those guys like Tochi Ozan or Goedo, so those are some of the guys that are retired now. Some of the other guys just, they're not at the top of the Bansuke anymore. But in our top half of the Makuuchi division, we have seen more than a 50% decrease in older wrestlers. So I think that's super cool. Takakeisho, Asanoyama, Shodai, Mitake Yumi, these are all younger guys that are still yet to peak. And I think that's pretty cool. We also potentially, I probably won't happen next tournament, but maybe one more after that. Naya, the grandson of Yokozuna Taiho, looks on pace to become the first Sekitori born in this millennium. He is only 20 years old, and he's at Makushita 5. So it just 1 or 2 decent tournaments more, and he will join Juryo. And I think that's a pretty cool milestone that we're on pace to reach.
Speaking
Pretty
of
cool.
1 or 2, that is his record, 1 and 2 currently. So if he pulls out 4 straight wins and gets to 5 and 2, maybe he'll be Sekitori next time. But
He'll be
hopefully
on the
he's
bubble.
getting close.
Yep.
All right,
This is the Reiwa era of younger Rikishi and the old guard coming out.
And he's still using his real name. He doesn't have a Shikona yet, so that he might pick something to commemorate that. That'd be pretty interesting to me.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's do some quick hits on some other Rikishi of note. Mentioned briefly Takakeisho. He is currently 5 and 2 as a Kadoban Ozeki, where he needs to get at least 8 wins to retain his rank. And so he's been looking fairly decent as long as he can keep people off of his belt. Kind of really embarrassing match, I think, against Kiribayama yesterday, where he wasn't quite able to shove Kiribayama out of the ring. Kiribayama touched his belt, and Takakeisho basically moonwalked out of the dojo of his own accord at that point. You guys have any more thoughts on Takakeisho? I mean, he's sitting at 5-2. He's still got a few matches against the lower ranked guys. Do you think we're all pretty sure he's going to retain Ozeki at this point? I think, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Not by much. I'm expecting. I think, didn't we say like in our preview we were expecting like only 8 or 9 wins, but we were expecting it to happen?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
That sounds right.
Yeah. Well, either way, yeah, I think we're still on pace for that. He's going to get the harder matchups, but I still think that he's got at least 3 more he can win.
Yeah. We've got a couple of guys who I usually bring up together because they're pretty close to each other on the Bansuke a lot. Yutakayama and Onosho. And it's kind of poetic that I brought them both up on the preview because they have both completely given up.
They've collapsed.
They are both 0-7. Both of their attempts today in their matches were pathetic. I don't know that there's really much more to say on these guys. They're ranked Maegashira 1, Maegashira 2. Very, very disappointing tournaments for both of them.
I think they just. I've noticed Onosho in particular is very one note, and he also, like, if the second that he gets some adversity, he does not seem to be. He doesn't seem to be very good at having a backup plan. If he's pushing forward, once the opponent's able to stop the momentum, he's just done. And today it even looked like there was a physical issue. Like he just like ran out of gas. Like he was just exhausted after like a 2-second engagement, and then he was just done. Yeah, it's upsetting to me because I like both of them.
Yeah. We've got another guy that we always bring up because he is always a crowd favorite, and that is Enho. Currently sitting with a 4-3 record, who I've kind of noted this Basho has had some very high highs. I think his match against Tamawashi today was a very good example of really good Enho, but he's also had some very low lows. And his match against Koto Fuji, where he was blasted out immediately, and he was kind of like crouched down at the Tawara, had his hands up, really was looking like he was trying to just like, no more Koto Fuji, I can't take it. And then Koto Fuji just shoved him on his ass out of the ring.
Completely.
That one, I thought that one might have been Amada. I think he may just not have been ready for the.
I had that written down as well, Jake. I don't think Enho was expecting that, and the ref didn't catch it.
It might be a similar situation to the Hakuho Kiribayama one we were talking about, where it's his own fault and he just wasn't ready for whatever reason. But I don't know. Watching it live the first time, I thought it should have been Amada.
So it'll be interesting to see how Enho can move forward, if he can keep it up and get back on that Kachikoshi train.
Hey, can I bring up one more Enho match?
Yeah.
Chiyotairyu did not have a clue who he was facing on day 7.
Yeah.
That I posted a picture on Instagram because I found it so funny, but like the slow-mo replay, he's arms straight ahead, standing up, eyes closed, and Enho is like a mile away. Like Enho already like ducked under, grabbed his belt. Enho's probably on his 2nd or 3rd move, and Chiyotairyu is just like charging forward like he's going up against like Kaisei or somebody less mobile. It was ridiculous.
Let's talk about the fun that we're having at the bottom of the Bansuke. We've already talked. There's some really good stories at the bottom of the Bansuke this tournament. That's usually not the case. We've got Terenofuji with his comeback. We've got the dynamite rookie Koto Shoho. But alongside Terenofuji, we have 3 other former Ozeki that are all holding their own this tournament. The former Ozeki are combined 19-9 so far this tournament. Terenofuji leading the way at 6-1. You got Koto Shogiku at 5-2, and then you also have Tochinoshin and Takayasu both at 4-3. I think this is a little bit of a surprise for me. I think I figured Tochinoshin at least probably would still be looking fairly bad, but this has been nice to see the former Ozeki not necessarily reclaiming their former glory. Maybe in Terenofuji's part he is, but they're still holding their own and showing that they're not quite done yet.
Right.
More of that comfort food. It's nice to see them do well, even if our long-term expectations are low.
Yeah.
Again, Terenofuji perhaps being the exception.
Mm-hmm.
I think these
Tochinoshin doing well is definitely definitely something I've been kind of liking, because like he's had a couple matches that kind of look like his old self, like where he gets the belt and it's just over. So I think he's competing more and trying to do his brand of sumo, which is like, it's high hopes. Like whether or not I'm not sure if he's going to be able to get back to his dominating form he was when he got his Ozeki promotion, but it looked like he's looking a whole lot better, which I'm thoroughly enjoying.
I think this just kind of shows that we need to bring back, I think it was called like Kosho Seido, like that system where you can sit out a tournament and have your rank protected, because we've been seeing some really good sumo at the top where all these guys have had rest and they are healthy. And then these 4 Ozeki, who all have been, with the exception of Terenofuji, have been like tumbling down the Bansuke. They've had a chance to rest to get healthy. And so they're showing some good sumo this tournament. I think this really shows we should bring that system back, because we're just getting good quality sumo, I think, so far this tournament.
Yeah, maybe we just have like a senior league or something like that, where they go on like the Makushita schedule of like every other day have one match.
Yeah.
Because I want to see these guys that are like, we've grown to love over the years, and they're still like, obviously they're at least at their peak mentally, but their bodies just can't keep up with the schedule, with all the wear and tear and stuff like that. I don't know. Obviously, I'm joking around, but I wish there was a way that we could see these guys do more good sumo without, killing them.
Yeah, I've always personally been a fan of having one less basho a year, so this actually an off season, similar to what kind of happened now. And like as you can kind of see, like I'm surprised in how well everyone's kind of looking. I thought there might be a little bit more like ring rest because they didn't have good practice, but it looks like everyone's been practicing pretty hard and they're looking pretty good. And if this was like a regular thing of where you just had like one basho off, where you had like a couple extra months to just rest up, I think that would be pretty good for performances of some people.
Sure. But it would be bad for money, so it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
That's why we have NFL preseason.
There we go.
No, not this year. We don't.
Oh, wait, yeah,
let's
we
not
don't
talk about this.
Well, yeah, but in general, like the preseason's just there to make more money off of the same number of players.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Let's talk about. I know I've said in the past, Daisho is dead to me. Wakataka Kage is dead to me.
What?
He was the prince who was promised. He was our undefeated king of Makuuchi. And what does he do? He starts the tournament off almost like a spit directly into my face with an 0-3 record. The audacity of this man to walk around as a false prophet and just to be shown how it's just really disheartening more than anything. So Wakataka Kage on this podcast, dead to me. Personal life, I'm still going to be cheering for him. But on this podcast, he's dead to me. And Koto Shoho is the new prince that was promised.
I like your bandwagoning.
Yeah.
Really?
He is still a promising 7-4 in the ring overall, Gucci. But yeah, he once he lost the first match, the magic was gone, wasn't it?
Oh, tears.
Tears.
I thought I was being led to the promised land. I thought we had found our prophet, and once again, my dreams were dashed on the road, and it's I should be used to it as a Vikings fan at this point, but you still find ways to build yourself up just to get hurt again.
Was that one of the things that you had to quit the podcast for?
Oh, shit.
I think it was.
Probably.
We should go over those promises at some point here.
We'll figure it out on the review. I don't remember all of them at this point.
Yeah, and heaven forbid any of us listen to stuff we've already released.
Yeah, who does that?
So I brought up all the guys that I wanted to talk about. Is there any other Rikshi that have caught your guys' eye you just want to bring up for a moment?
I gotta go back to. I promised I would talk some shit about Kageyaki later.
Okay.
You
always welcome.
Oh, of course. You mentioned earlier that Kageyaki you kind of looked at as a guy with a plan. And he would come in prepared with some strategy and stuff like that. I 100% disagree with that, unless he does a ton of research, plans, studies, and decides that every single wrestler requires the same plan. Because every single match, we get our tachi, and then it's instantly the exact same thing. Head down, elbows in, knees out, duck walk. The exact same thing. That same friggin' annoying ass waddle that he'll just do the same technique no matter what happens to him. And the problem is that he's big enough that he tends to get the initiative often enough that I have to watch that stupid duck walk the majority of the days.
You mean just push him out, kind of oshidashi duck walk?
Not even. He puts his elbows into the ribs, pushes his hands like he just like scoops. He's just walking forward and scooping, and it's
like hands into his armpits kind of thing.
He goes. I mean, he kind of goes for belts. He kind of goes for armpits. I don't know. It's the exact same thing every match, though.
Mr. Fundamental, right there.
I know that I share this with, I believe it was Wata who once left us an angry voicemail about how much he hated Kageyaki's stupid walk. But yeah, now I mean, for whatever reason, it seemed more noticeable to me this particular tournament, and it's Kageyaki may have to replace Koto Yuki as my nemesis because Koto Yuki's just not successful enough.
Yes,
I need somebody slightly higher up on the Bansuke to direct my rage at more regularly.
You should try Shodai. He'll love a couple more haters.
He will suit your needs.
He will win a U-show someday, Fleric. And that may be the day that you have to quit the podcast.
I mean, but come on, lads. It's Shodai.
Fleric's going to be gone by the review episode once we check the tape.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
What about you, Fleric or Mac? Were there any other rickshaw you just wanted to bring up at all, or are we good to move on?
I miss my Chiyomaru. I miss what's going on. Why? Why are you losing?
Yeah, you miss him because has he really shown up to this tournament?
No, that's what I mean. Come back.
Yeah, no. I think we did a good job covering people.
All right, let's talk
Oh wait, Tokushoryu's been doing well.
Woo! Yes, briefly about Juryo, as I'm actually watching Juryo this tournament. Yep, Tokushoryu 4-3. Surprising, actually. I figured he would still be doing pretty poorly. But yeah, I've actually been watching all the Juryo matches that are available on the Sumo Nato channel. And so I can say that Wakamoto Haru is the brother of the dead to me Wakataka Kage, and he's looking really good down in Juryo. He's leading Juryo at 6-1 right now. There's a few guys at 5-2 trailing him. But yeah, really good sumo so far for Wakamoto Haru. Ichinojo is down there. Somebody people want to see back in the Makuuchi division. Unfortunately, he is looking a lot like Ichinojo, where he started off pretty dominant. I think he got out to like a 3-0 start. Looked like nobody could touch him. And then he turned into Sleepy Bear, Ichinojo, and has been mostly Sleepy Bear since that 3-0 start, as he's gone 1-3 since. Today was especially horrendous, where it didn't even look like he tried. Hoshoryu kind of been the opposite. He started off 0-2, but he's rattled off 5 straight wins after that. He's got some pretty good throws in there, a couple of good back and forth matches where he's had some good defense. So really excited to see what Hoshoryu can do in the future. Hopefully he can keep up this pace. And if he wins out or maybe drops one more, we could see Hoshoryu in Makuuchi. But I think it's more likely he just gets up to like Juryo 2 or 3. This next tournament needs one more to get up to Makuuchi.
He's getting close, though.
Yeah.
Look up the day 4 match between, him and Wakamoto Haru. Sorry, my audio cut out. I don't know if you mentioned that match, but that one was a crazy throw. That one was a lot of fun.
That's the one where it was a lot like Asanoyama versus Kakuryu last tournament, where like both their heads were like at the ground. They each had like one leg up, and it was just a matter of who was going to give up and touch the floor first, right?
Very similar, yes. But that was day 4. Go check that one out. It's crazy. Yeah. Probably my favorite individual move that I have seen this tournament.
Awesome. Yep. And then just a quick roundup of some lower division guys we've kept our eyes on. As we mentioned, Naya is 1-2. Real sorry about this one, Mac. Ryuko at Makushita 5 is 0-4.
Yep, I know. That one hurts.
A guy who was Sandanme Tsukedashi about a year ago is Shiraishi. He is 2-1. Roga is 2-2. And my new absolute favorite lower division guy, Yoshi, is 2-2 currently in his Makushita debut.
Go Yoshi.
There's two eyes on there. I think that's more of Yoshi.
Yoshi. Yep.
Okay, whatever.
It sounds the same. That being said, let's take a quick break for a commercial, and then we will be back afterwards with GSB Belt and an update on our prediction series.
Hello everyone in the foreign sumo community. We here in the sumo marketing team are pleased to know that our Tochinoshin product did so well in the foreign fan hype market. Now that this product is closing in on the end of its sustainability, we have decided to launch a new product specifically to cater to your taste in sumo narratives. This is why we are excited to bring you Terenofuji. Did you like the emotional roller coaster of hyping up the pure strength build that was Tochinoshin through the trials and tribulations of injury? Well, do I have something for you. Terenofuji is another Yurikiri and lift-out specialist who is not only a super talented guy who shot up through the ranks early in his life to get an almost career-ending injury. Terenofuji even won a Yusho and made it to Osaki before the age of 25. Even more potential for you to pin your hopes on. Did you enjoy the terrible string of hope-crushing knee injuries threatening to resurface at literally any moment, ending all your hopes and dreams? Well, how about bandages on both knees, both elbows, both feet, and diabetes combined with worrying weight loss just for good measure? Terenofuji even admits to still having to take painkillers to get through morning practice every single day for his entire climb up to making his redebut in Makuuchi this tournament. Speaking of that run, did you enjoy the run of Tochinoshin coming all the way up from the bottom of Makushita on his magical return? While Terenofuji ran all the way back up from Jonidan. There is no way smurfing in low ranks for that long has tired this man out at all. Did you enjoy lift outs? Well, Terenofuji does it too, but he lifts you up by your elbows, because who needs a belt or an inside grip when you can just gamble on giving your opponent the strongest grip in the game as a core part of your strategy? That never backfires, right Nishikigi? And if you enjoy fun nicknames like the forklift, well, Terenofuji is called the Kaiju for being just bigger and stronger than anyone else, and oppressively moving them out of the ring like a goddamn Tonka truck. We all know that no Kaiju ever had things go bad for them at the end of the movie, so your hopes are safe here. And if the only reason you paid Tochinoshin's storyline any mind was him being foreign, well, Terenofuji's Mongolian. That counts, right? At the time of recording, Terenofuji has a 6-1 record going into day 8. He's basically a Yokozuna already! So go ahead and argue who will be one in online discussions for the next 2 years. I'm sure that will work out just great for you.
I am certainly interested in that product. I think I'm going to buy.
Convincing, wasn't he?
Yeah. Next up is the GSB Belt, which started off in our friend Ura's hands this tournament. Ura is he got a couple wins, but he finally lost on day 7 here to Shonan no Umi. I have never heard of that guy before, but he's 4-0, only 22 years old, near the top of Makushita. He might be a name that we hear about again soon. But yeah, Ura was by far the longest reigning GSB champion. We started the belt and it got to Ura within like 6 matches or so. And then he just rattled off 20 straight wins. He has been involved in 21 out of the 27 total GSB title belt matches. That was a hell of a run, and it's the first time that Ura's lost in a couple tournaments, obviously, is what that implies. But yeah, it's interesting to see him lose it, because now kind of the point of why we started this was we kind of wanted to, as kind of like a weird, silly way to find new prospects to watch. So it kind of spoiled it a little bit to just have a guy that we already knew and loved have the belt for like 4 tournaments or something. But Shonan no Umi is your new GSB title holder, and we'll see if he can hold it till the end of the tournament. He's currently 4-0.
All right, let's give everybody a quick update on the prediction series, our Champ Chump series. And I gotta say, this is probably the most even prediction series we've ever had, and probably the best performing at the midway point, because our champs, we all selected either one of the 3 undefeated Rishi or Terenofuji at 6-1. And then the chumps, I think Jake has the worst chump at this point. He chose Takanosho, but the rest of us either have 4 or 5 losses for our chumps. And so we're still pretty tightly packed, and it's anybody's game. Right now, Mac and I are tied at 12 points apiece. Jake and Flerick are tied at 10 points apiece, but it's really too soon to call anything at this point. So
the dream is still alive to finally get a song out of Flerick.
Yes.
Yeah, all of you have done one before, haven't you?
We have.
The last one.
Ooh, we'll see. It's maybe we should drag this out a couple more seasons, a couple more years. We'll see.
No, I don't think so. I think the time is right.
And let's move on to the most hotly anticipated part of any Midway episode, the lightning round. All right.
Bum, bum, bum.
Da-da-da-da.
We used to have a sound piece that went in there, but then Jake got lazy and stopped trying.
Yeah, though when we're recording remotely, it's significantly more work to insert something like into the middle because I have to move around all 4 of our tracks instead of 1 track, and I'm just going to keep talking because I want to make it seem like it's really hard. But it's we still have the sound effect.
Yeah. Hey, maybe he'll surprise us and throw it in here. Probably not.
I probably won't.
Yeah. All right. Well, since we've got Jake talking, Jake, why don't you tell us first who has impressed you the most so far?
Dai Sekiwake Mitake Yumi.
Okay, that's it. Yeah, that's
it's a
fine.
lightning round. We gotta go.
Lightning round. What are you doing,
Good point.
Ryan?
Mac, who has impressed you the most so far?
Slippery hot garbage Shodai, who's not hot garbage.
Flerick, what about you?
Koto Shoho.
Yeah, I was going to say Koto Shoho, so I'll go with Asanoyama with his strong Ozeki debut. Mac, who has disappointed you the most?
Yutakayama, get your crap together.
What about you, Flerick?
Good old Abi. Yep, we have to defend our castle. Sorry, Abi.
I got to go with Onosho. Yeah. Jake, what about you?
You guys picked all the ones I was going to go for, so I'll say Ishiura because he did super awesome through the first week in our simulation, but he's not great right now.
Yeah.
Why don't you have like 9-0, Ishira? What's up?
Yeah, come on.
What is this?
All right, Flerick, what has been your favorite match of the Basho so far?
That will have to be the Terenofuji versus Takayasu. Just 2 old school Ozekis who have faced each other a large amount, and you can kind of tell that they brought a good match because of that.
My favorite so far has got to be Enho Tamawashi that we saw today, and I think it's because it was a good match by Enho. Tamawashi just kind of stood. Well, Enho stepped back at the Tachi-ai, and Tamawashi kind of didn't know what to do with that. And so Enho took that opportunity, go low, grab his belt, and then a little bit of squirming and fighting, but got Tamawashi out of the ring. But especially because Enho's first step in that match is exactly what my first step would be in that match, which is 1 step backwards. The difference is I would pivot on that back foot and run out of the dohyo as far away from my opponent as possible because I want to stay in one piece. So Enho is a much braver man than I. He had a moment where he thought of turning tail and running because he wanted to protect his elbows. But no, he fought that urge and went on to win a wondrous match. What about you, Jake? What's your favorite match?
You're usually the one that gets on us about not being lightning enough for the lightning round.
Right?
Yeah, but I really like that joke.
Asanoyama, Kiribayama, day 5. That was my favorite one. It was one of the ones we brought up earlier, but seeing Asanoyama have a backup plan and making it work was just that was my favorite so far.
And you, Mac?
Koto Eiko versus Shohozan on day 6. Love the intensity, love the energy. It was a slug fest. Literally, well, a slap fest. Not a slug, slap fest.
Oh, is that the one where he literally like haymakered slap?
Oh, it was beautiful.
Push him
Just
down.
slaps all over the place.
Yeah, that was dang close to like a punch, except you didn't have a fist.
Yep, can't ball your fist.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry, I'm going to slow down the lightning round real quick. I just remembered something I wanted to bring up at some point in this episode, so now is as good as any. There have been a couple of awkward, like, matas. So in Tochinoshin versus Koto Shogiku, they had like 3 matas in there.
That was terrible.
But the second one, Tochinoshin went for a Henka. And it would have worked, but the Gyoji said, no, your guys' fists didn't go down or whatever. And
Okay,
so then they
it
had
was
to
Koto
face off.
Shogiku's fist. Koto Shogiku wasn't getting his hand down.
Yeah. And so Tochinoshin did the Henka against Koto Shogiku and then had to look him in the eyes again for a real match. But
awesome.
an even worse situation happened this morning down in Juryo, where Tobizaru was fighting Ichinojo, and they had a mata where if the match had gone forward, the beginning of the match literally would have been both of them standing straight up and Tobizaru just slapping Ichinojo across the face. And so that was the mata. They just both stood up and Tobizaru just slapped Ichinojo across the face. And then they had to go down and do another match after that.
That's Tony Stark and the Hulkbuster going, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm looking that one up immediately.
Yeah. So there have been a couple of awkward post-mata situations that I just wanted to bring up. All right. Sorry about that. Most exciting potential matchup. I'll start with me here. That's got to be Hakuho versus Asanoyama. Both of them are dynamite. That match could decide the Yusho, and Asanoyama will be going for his first win over Hakuho. Jake, what about you?
If we're just talking potential, I kind of hope that Hakuho either drops a match or two or something happens and Mitake Yumi versus Asanoyama, young guns for like the new king kind of torch passing kind of deal. That would be the most exciting potential matchup to me.
Mac?
For me, it'd be Mitake Yumi versus Hakuho. Just seeing if the sunning himself, gathering the energy for that massive solar flare, spirit bomb, whatever he's gathering from the sun will work against Yokozuna.
And what about you, Flair?
I'll have to agree with you, Ryan. We're Hakuho versus Asanoyama. These are the two top dogs in sumo, and they're both looking at top form at the moment. So I can't wait to see how it goes between them.
All right, and Jake, who is going to win the Yusho?
I just saw the slap thing.
Yeah,
I'm gonna text a timestamp to you guys.
you should. If you watch it on Kiribayama, he puts like a little like animation. Not Kiribayama, Kintanayama YouTube. He puts like a little like a boom little thing right when the hit happens during the replay.
That's hilarious. Hakuho's going to win it because he's my champ, despite what I just said about the most exciting potential matchup.
What about you, Mac?
Mitake Yumi's gathering that energy. He's going to release it in a brilliant blast.
Fleric?
No way, it's not Hakuho.
It's Mitake Yumi because the simulation said it would be.
Oh, that would be pretty cool.
Ooh.
I forgot about that. That would be a great end to this. Oh, God, we even got this slap in slow-mo.
I've watched this too many times today.
That was
it's
like a
still
really
great.
hard one too. It wasn't.
Oh,
just
yeah.
like,
No, it was a full-on slap.
oh, this is the best thing I've ever seen. Thank you so much for bringing it up.
Oh, that's funny.
All right. So that
Boom.
is going to wrap up our Midway episode. Probably a bit longer of a Midway than usual, but it's been a long time since we've got to talk about real sumo. We had a lot to get off of our chest.
Yeah. And I mean, it's not like everything we talked about for an hour and a half here is irrelevant just because there's been one more day of matches, you know.
Yeah.
I'm glad that we go long sometimes.
Yeah. And so it sounds like you got a little bit of homework everybody needs to do. Watch your Juryo matches, Hoshoryu versus Wakamoto Haru, and Tobizaru versus Ichinojo. Don't need to watch the Tobizaru versus Ichinojo match, just the preamble. But with that being said,
repeat.
if you enjoyed this podcast, you can leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or your favorite podcast listening service.
You can find us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Grand Sumo Breakdown.
GrandSumoBreakdown.wordpress.com. We keep all of our crap, whatever. Yeah.
If you have any questions, comments, or corrections, drop us a line at grandsumobreakdown@gmail.com or give us a call at 805-613-7866. That's 805-613-SUMO. Also, I have to say, have you guys been loving Sumo Nato's new format? I very much appreciate all the hard work they have been doing with their videos. Keep up the good work.
Yeah, especially where it lists the height so that I know that Koto Shoho is 6'3".
It's wrong. It listed as 191. He's 188. Also, English units. But yeah, no, it does look great. Look for our recap episode sometime early, not next week, but the week after, after the tournament's done. One of us will be singing a heartfelt anthem. We don't know who yet, but one of us will. Hopefully Fleric. Until later. Until then, see you. Bye.
Oh my God. Can
Bye.
you stretch it out any longer?
I mean, yeah, always.
Thank you for listening to Grand Sumo Breakdown. Until next time,
Throw your salt high.
And keep moving forward.